Next up, we have Trish wheeling Linda backstage in a wheelchair. Steph greeting them. Steph says she's sure it means so much to her to at least have one child who turned out okay. Steph talking to Linda, who is in a comatose, by the way. Steph then tells Trish to have champagne and strawberries ready for their celebration later after Vince beats Shane in their match that's coming up in the show.
And that she needs to crush the ice with her hands. Very difficult to do.
If she was strong enough to do that, she shouldn't have to worry about anything else, should she?
Well, no, exactly. Madness. Absolute madness.
Next up, we get Michael Cole interviewing Mick Foley backstage. Foley says he will call the Vince versus Shane match right down the middle. He is going to be the referee for that match. And he says he's going to do that here in Austin, Texas for the cheap pop. Lovely stuff. So next up we have backstage Vince confirming with Trish that she did double up on Linda's dosage and that she knows when to bring Linda down to the ring. Michael Cole then arrives and asks Vince about the shocking events of Monday, but Vince cuts him off and says that if they want shocking tonight, they will get shocking. We then get the video package hyping the McMahon match with Vince's affair and humiliation of Trish, which is a particularly infamous segment on SmackDown. Also, Shane arriving at Nitro, having bought WCW, and we see all the stuff that happened on that episode of Raw and Nitro with the simulcast. And I think it is worth saying the Trish segment on SmackDown because it was a significant moment, so much so that the Sky refused to air it in the UK because it was so objectionable, and it was objectionable and should not have been done. Yes, so Vince had Trish barking like a dog in the ring. And this was after, of course, Vince was, and during basically Vince having an affair with Trish. Just really rough kind of stuff. This is the next match. Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, street fight. 14 minutes long. It's one when Shane pins Vince after Shane hits a modified Van Terminator on Vince with a trash can. And I think it's all fair to say that this is absolutely match of the night, is it not?
Yeah, definitely big time.
Big time.
It's amazing. I'm sorry, the main event is great. The TLC match that we're going to get on is great. This match is the match of the night. The crowd are rabid. They're foaming at the mouth. They don't know what to do with themselves. And it's just like a fun kind of like, this match has got no right to be as good as it is. But it's just, like you said before, thinking about like Raw being like bang, 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 bang. This is that condensed into about 15 minutes. And it is just relentless distraction to get you away from the fact that it's an old fart in his 50s against an untrained non-wrestler in his 30s having an absolute barn burner. Like when Trish brings Linda down, you don't really expect much. Obviously, we know what is happening, having seen it before, but that Linda is perfect in her role as a catatonic wife because of her incredible lack of charisma. And she's just sat down, and that moment when she stands up, the crowd go ballistic, and it is arguably my second favorite pop of all time. It is just absolutely insane. She kicks Vince in the bollocks. His face when she turns around. Say what you want about Vince, he's a scumbag, but his face, his reaction to seeing Stephanie is amazing. The kick in the bollocks, the Van Terminator, wonderful stuff. Absolutely wonderful. I love this match. I was smiling from ear to ear about it. The only downside that I had is I was literally at one point when Shane was hitting Vince McMahon with the kendo sticks, I was like out on the outside of the ring by the commentary table. I thought to myself, do you know what? I can deal with this version of Shane. He's not doing his stupid boxing and punching, and then he immediately did the boxing and punching and dancing, which annoyed me. But other than that, match of the night, love it. Absolutely love it.
Matt, what did you think?
Well, it definitely wasn't my match of the night. I'll say that.
You surprised me, Matt. You shocked me.
I know. This was very much Jerry Springer at its finest, wasn't it? That's the first thing that immediately popped out to me, is that this was very much soap opera-y. Jerry Springer, definitely popular, certainly in America, so I could easily see why they went with it. Instead of like it felt like a 15-minute angle more than anything else in terms of a match. And in all fairness, then, as far as an angle goes for that length of time masquerading as a match, it was all right. I will admit that I did feel uncomfortable, and maybe that was the point, though, but I did feel uncomfortable when Vince was taking Linda out of the chair, putting her in the ring when she's like immobile. I was just thinking, oh, no, like that did make me cringe a bit. I was thinking, my God, that wouldn't work today, would it? But I suppose he got his comeuppance. But yeah, when Trish slapped Vince, to get her revenge, I thought that was great. The crowd went back when Trish and Stephanie started going high. And in all fairness to them, And I've got to give a quick sort of shout out and praise to them for this. They had a match at No Way Out not too long prior to that was excellent. So they had really good chemistry, those pair. Maybe that's partially why the crowd loved them, I think. But similar to you, Tom, when Vince did get in the ring with Linda and she got out of her chair, I mean, my God, that was probably one of the best pops on the entire show. Foley coming back in to get revenge on Vince after he's hit him with a chair. Shane getting the Van Terminator, which to this day is the best one he's ever hit. It hasn't been anywhere remotely as good as that ever since. It was good, and the one thing that really struck me at the end of it, and I made a point that I wanted to note this, is that regardless of the good or, whether it was in poor taste or what, some of the stuff that Vince had done, in the story, this was definitely the not only was it the payoff, but it was the right payoff. And I know particularly we've talked about it, Ben, in terms of Triple H's booking, that he doesn't sort of do the happy ending. This was the happy ending. Vince got his comeuppance and he finally paid for his sins. Everybody got what they were after. Vince got his ass kicked, and it was the perfect ending. So fair play to them for that, ticking the right box. Like I said, for what was pretty much a 50-minute angle, pretty good.
Not just pretty good, Matt. No, we're not having it. It's not just pretty good. This is magic. This is absolute magic. This is what it's all about. I'm usually the person who sits between Tom and Old Man and the seriousness of serious pro wrestling, if you like. But I'm very, 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 very tempted to give this genuinely, legitimately my match of the night, because I just thought this was stunning. It's just a stunning piece of work. Like Tom said, has no right to be this good. It's two non-wrestlers in a match with a retired wrestler refereeing it and two other non-wrestlers fighting at ringside and a third non-wrestler who also can't talk very well at all. And yet they create one of the most atmospheric things you'll ever see in pro wrestling. And there are about 5 earth-shattering pops during this match. Not just one, not just the Linda standing up pop, which is humongous, but there's the pop when Shane jumps off the top rope and goes through the table. There's the pop when Trish slaps Vince. There's the pop when Trish jumps on Stephanie and attacks her and chases after her up the ramp. There's the pop when Linda stands up. There's the pop when Foley gets back in the ring and starts beating the shit out of Vince. There's the pop when Shane does the Van Terminator, and the fans are going crazy through every moment of it. They are hooked on every single moment of this match. When I was watching it, I was like, my hairs were standing up. I was like, this is just crazy. This shouldn't be this good. It shouldn't be this fun. It shouldn't be this special, but it is. It's just so good. It's just so good. It for me it makes a mockery of the idea that you need high work rate and technical wrestling to have good wrestling. You just don't. What you need is a really well told story, and this had an amazingly well told story, and brilliantly all of it evaporates through the course of this match as well. So we had months of Trish being humiliated by Vince. We've already spoken about the dreadfulness of that particular angle that they did, but also the hideous nature of his relationship with Trish in front of Linda. We've had all of that stuff going on. We've had Vince sack Mick Foley as the commissioner, and Mick Foley sign a load of documents before he got sacked to make sure that he could still create some rulings later on, which is why he's the referee of this match, because one of them was he could make himself the referee of a match at WrestleMania. And it all unravels over the course of the match. Trish reveals that she doesn't like Vince and slaps him. Then Linda reveals that she's not drugged anymore and she's able to come after Vince. It's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal work.
Shane McMahon playing the hero, defending his mother's honor, undercutting Vince to buy WCW. Like, it's just it's brilliant, isn't it? It's
amazing to think that WCW bit is just an add-on.
Yeah.
Because they would never have thought of it. They would never have done it if that, that was never meant to be the part of the plan. It just so happened that it came along. And probably they probably regretted it in the longer run, because it didn't end up making any sense, because they couldn't have WCW be the baby faces and Shane was the baby face.
The spot where Shane comes off the top rope through the announce table, you have to give a massive shout out to Stephanie McMahon, because her timing when pulling off her dad is absolutely incredible.
I think it's hard if you are the individual to get yourself off the table without it telegraphing it to the person who's doing the move. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the best way to have someone avoid it, is for someone else to drag them off.
Yeah.
But they have to do it well and they have to time it well, and Stephanie did time it absolutely perfectly. Before we move on from this match, just a quick little excerpt from 35 years of WrestleMania. It's entering the thing. And I think this might inform a lot of why the McMahons are on television so much and always have been. Linda McMahon remembers, we can conducted some consumer research and it confirmed that storylines that included behind-the-scenes elements with our family were very well received by our audience. For instance, when Vince went on television and said he wanted a divorce, I began to receive letters from fans asking if we really were getting a divorce. And I think they've received similar feedback from the USA Network in the past. They've basically been told, you are massive ratings getters. We want you on the screen. We don't want you off screen. So all the time us fans are shouting, get off the screen, get out of the way of all the wrestlers. They're being told by their focus groups, by USA Network, by people who have a vested interest in making money from them, no, keep yourselves on the screen. So that might explain a lot about why that keeps happening.